Hola y bienvenidos. Welcome to TeaTalk&Tarot, the podcast where we mix real talk, tarot, and just the right amount of chismecito.
I'm Jax, a master manifester, spellcaster, tarot and oracle reader, dedicated to fostering a supportive and transformative healing community. During our Brujis Roundtable, I will be reading the chismecito with my tarot cards.
And I'm Eve, an intuitive empath dedicated to helping others heal, embrace self-love, and step fully into their most authentic selves. I will be pulling oracle cards for our listeners during our collective reading today.
Here we unpack life, relationships, and everything in between with a little tarot insight and lots of laughs.
Each episode, we start by spilling the tea as our guest shares their story. Then, Brujis Roundtable, where we pull tarot cards to offer our guests some guidance. And finally, we wrap up with a collective reading just for you, our listeners, during the collective reading. To learn more about us or for more insights, updates, and behind-the-scene content, visit readingthetea.com or follow us on Instagram and TikTok at TeaTalk&Tarot Pod.
So grab your tea, get comfy, and let's get into it.
All right, Laura, thanks for joining us. We're so happy to have you. And can you tell us where you're joining us from?
Hi, guys. It's very nice to be here. I'm joining you from Ireland.
We love our amigas from Ireland. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Y me encantan mis amigas de los Estados Unidos también.
Gracias, amiga. Muchas gracias por escucharnos.
All right, amigas, spill the tea.
What's going on, Laura?
So I suppose I'm trying to reflect on times when maybe I didn't follow my intuition, even though there was red flags. I think everyone has intuition. Some people have intuition that's far more developed than others. Sometimes it can be cloudy. And I would say mine is probably quite basic. And my intuition usually falls under good or bad. But the first time, I think a major life event in which I didn't follow my intuition was my last relationship.
You're not alone.
Thank you. So like most people, I wanted a relationship and this guy presented himself and he looked really good on paper. And I really wanted it. For the most part, we did get on, but there was a lot of red flags, which I chose to ignore. When I ignored them, they led to, I wouldn't say bad situations, but maybe hurtful or painful situations. The way my intuition has always worked is I would get a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach or just a bad feeling in my throat. For example, one of the things he did was we weren't going out that long, but an hour before we were due to go out for dinner for my birthday, he cancelled.
Not on your birthday.
Yeah. And I thought that was a really bad sign. Obviously, I felt bad, but I felt bad about
What was
him.
his excuse?
Yeah.
Oh, he said he had an appointment the next day.
What kind of appointment?
I'm sorry if I make faces when I say this, but you didn't know you had an appointment and we could have done something earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We could have done so many different things. We could have cut it short. We could have.
It's not like your birthday is on a different day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's the same day every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, no, exactly. Or he could have made the appointment for the day after.
Agreed.
Mhm.
I mean, that would have been the most logical thing. But Laura, we're talking about people who they're only thinking about themselves, right? They're not thinking about others. Joe doesn't think.
Yeah.
Joe isn't thinking. The logical thing would have been, don't worry, Laura, we'll go ahead and I'll reschedule and I'll make it for another time. But Joes don't think about that.
No, they don't. And the worst part was I hadn't heard from him all day. So I ignored my intuition. I kind of knew it was like, well, this is strange. Usually when you make plans, you'll hear for someone. And then I have found sometimes when I ignore my intuition, I'm a little bit deluded. And I don't know, is it denial? But I maybe thought that he had some surprise for me or he was going to whisk me off my feet. And the other thing was this appointment was all very secretive. I'd never heard about it before. I didn't know what it was. He didn't tell me. And then I just found out it was counseling. Like, you don't have to cancel your entire day because you have one counseling session the next day. I understand counseling is important and I think it's great and a lot of people benefit from it. I'm not saying he shouldn't have gone, but I don't think it was that big a deal to do what he did to me.
So
That
we talked about your intuition and where you feel
mm,
it. So when this happened, Laura, where did you feel that?
in the pit of my stomach. And I just really felt that he was showing me what he was, or at least giving me a glimpse. And that's another thing. When someone does that, please accept them for what they are showing you and please take it on board. Again, I wanted this relationship. On paper, he looked great. He was good looking, ticked all the boxes, but there was something that wasn't right. There was other things whereby I went to meet his friends and they all went and ate. And then I joined them later and they didn't even tell me they ate. It was very controlled. I was only allowed to come at a certain time. And again, my intuition was telling me this isn't healthy, this isn't good. There were so many things like that. There are other examples whereby I was in a job and I didn't follow my intuition. I was getting bad vibes. I just got these really bad feelings that something was bad was going to happen. And again, it was in the pit of my stomach. And instead of taking action, basically, I was bullied out of a job. And I really should have taken action. I suppose one of the lessons I would like all the listeners to know, and they probably know this deep down, is that you can't go wrong when you listen to your intuition.
Yeah. And that's why I was asking where you feel it, because I think a lot of times we mistake intuition with other things, nervousness. It's learning how your intuition feels in your body or how it presents itself. And that's why I'm honing in on that piece, because one, we want you to recognize how it manifests in you, but then we also want listeners to exactly what you said. Sometimes I feel it in my throat. Sometimes I feel it in my stomach. We want listeners to pay attention to those things. Then there's things like, oh, I get goosebumps. Some folks get itchy. Some folks will start to cough, or something's trying to tell them that there's something going on. Some people get physically ill,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
And it's those things that we need to pay attention. So you're hitting on the nail.
yeah, so one of my physical manifestations of intuition is feeling like I'm going to be sick. It's a very distinct feeling. And if someone was to ask me, how do you tap into your intuition? I would say my intuition is at its best when my mind is quiet. So for me, that would be meditation. And if I was to meditate on different scenarios with this guy or different scenarios in different jobs, I would be able to recognize that I had that sickly feeling. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's only for a split second. But meditation is very powerful for acceptance, but also for your intuition because it quietens your mind and you can sieve through the noise. Because as I said, sometimes I think when you want certain things, whether it's a relationship, a job, a certain house, a car, you ignore your intuition. Uh,
Literally blinded by it.
yeah, yeah. And it's been a real learning curve for me. And if I was to approach these scenarios, the relationship or the job again, to avoid making those mistakes, I would probably try and reflect more on those situations. Even if someone can't meditate, just think about them and sit with your feelings and try and identify are your feelings good or bad. And I really believe if your feelings are good, you're on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go wrong. But you have to be really, really honest with yourself in this situation. And I don't think I was. I think I had a lot of bad feelings. Another example in that relationship is he would never invite me to spend time with his family. And that felt bad because it was hurtful, but it also felt bad intuitively because when you're building a relationship with someone, that isn't normal. But again, I
Yeah.
brushed it off because I wanted it. There's many examples that I have like that. And I think intuition is important because we all have the answers. We just need to tap into them. And I think tarot is a really powerful tool and it could go hand in hand with our intuition. Sometimes it can help us explore our intuition, it can help us align with our intuition. But again, I think we have to be really, really grounded when we're tapping into our intuition.
Yeah.
So that's my take on intuition. And I just wish I listened to it more. And there's been other times when I did listen to my intuition and I've had huge wins, whether it's living with certain people, they turned out to be great people and we're lifelong friends, or I've had amazing jobs where I got a really good feeling from the people at interview. I really thought about it. Maybe I tapped into my feelings in that moment and it worked out really well. But I would say to someone, if they're not sure about something, just try and sit with it and take your time and then see how you feel. And usually after a good night's sleep, it's very clear.
Laura, I have so many questions about the relationship and the job.
Yeah.
But you mentioned keeping quiet. So I wonder if these concerns came up of not being able to be around their family, a certain amount of time with their friends. Did you ever voice those concerns?
No. And I take full responsibility for that. And that is a lesson. I think when I did voice them, too much time had passed. And that is one of my regrets. But I think I was in this bubble of wanting this thing. So I had excuses for this bad behavior
Yeah.
when deep down I knew it wasn't right.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, right? Because sometimes we know in our heads and our hearts and our bodies telling us that there's something that doesn't feel right and it isn't right, but we stay quiet. And so I don't know if it was inner child version of Laura that tended to be quiet when she was younger or where this comes from, but that's also something to sit with and understand where that's coming from. And you said you didn't, and you seem very apologetic. And my thing is, don't apologize for that version of Laura. This version of Laura has learned from those mistakes and now knows that that's not something she would put up with. So I want to remind you of that. Even the bullying that you mentioned at work. So we'll forget about Joe for a little bit, even though Joe's on my shit list right now. I don't even know him. And Joe,
I'll give you his address.
and I'm like so upset. I literally feel it in the pit of my stomach because I'm like, how dare he? How dare he do this? Just because no one wants to ever go through that. Even the bullying is the same thing, right?
Yeah.
With bullies, there's this insecurity or there's something that's going on in them. I always talk about this, about that. That's a reflection of them. Even when people harm you, what did I do to trigger you? This has nothing to do with you, Laura. This has something to do with them and they need to work on. But unfortunately, it led to you being pushed out of this job. But I also want to say that maybe it was for the best. Sometimes things happen and it's for the best. In regards to Joe and folks like that, when you're not meant to be in that space, things will happen. Like people will literally push you out until you can't. They will show you their true colors. And you said it best, believe them. If they show you this, don't stick around. Believe them. They're telling you who they really are.
Yeah. And I think what you're saying is really interesting because, yes, I didn't have the confidence to speak up and call Joe out or call other people out, but I also didn't have the confidence to maybe trust my intuition.
Yeah.
And I think.
And those can go hand in hand.
Yeah, I definitely think they go hand in hand. And you know that phrase, believe in yourself, trust in yourself. Like for me, that's saying trust your instinct, trust your gut, trust your feelings.
Yeah.
And therefore trust your intuition because it is your most powerful weapon, I think, in life, or maybe not weapon, but tool.
Or weapon. But it's amazing how once we start speaking up for ourselves and we set these boundaries, I think most importantly, what comes with our voice, but boundaries too. Sometimes it's just telling a person, sometimes we'll just kind of retract and we're like, okay, it's not worth dealing with. And we need to be very careful with, are we taking the easy way out or are we actually facing this thing that we need to? But when we use our voice, I really do think that we set up these boundaries and we don't have to be mean about it. I've learned this through the years. A teenage me would have been very different, but this new version of me, this version of me realizes that I don't have to be mean to folks to make my point across.
But I like being mean.
Right. I think there's a part of us that we want to sting people. We want to sing people. But I've realized that sometimes just telling people, no, thank you. That's not worth my time, my effort, and just kind of letting it be known is equally as hurtful for those folks because what we don't want to do is we don't want that anger to manifest in us as well. That's also equally important. So, Laura, I don't want you to be thinking about this and be like, oh, I should have, could have, would have. No, feel it, accept it, and release it. Right. Because we don't want that staying in our bodies either, or something that eats at you when you say you're grounded and follow your intuition and do that. We also need to learn along with that, that the things that we could have done in the past, we just have to accept it for the lesson that it was. Thank those people for being teachers for us and say, moving on. There's something bigger and greater for us because we don't know what it is yet. And maybe it's not the time yet, but there is something out there waiting that's better. And I really, truly do believe in that. I'm curious as to how long you stayed in both the job with the bully and how long you stayed with Joe.
Oh, they're both similar timelines. So they're probably both about 2.5 years. But
Mm,
obviously, at the start, everything is great and you are
of
in this
course.
bubble. But I do remember in both situations getting this sickly feeling, as I described early on, and definitely realizing this isn't right, or this isn't for me, or I'm not on the right path, or there's something not right. But instead of just listening to that bad feeling or that whispering voice, I didn't trust it enough and I just continued on and ignored it. And that led to a lot of pain and heartbreak. But as you said, I don't want to dwell on it. I have found that in general in life that when I've ignored that niggling voice or niggling feeling, things haven't worked out.
Yeah. It's amazing how our body and our intuition are all tied together and it's trying to tell us, and we often ignore it because there'll be a really good glimpse of something or there'll be a
Mm.
hope of something, and we're like, oh, but these things feel nice or this is nice. I've been guilty of it where I know and I'm so spiritually led. It's almost like unusual to say it's pointing all in one direction. And I'm like, but there's this
Yeah.
other really nice thing too, right? And I want to explore this part. And we all have free will. So, we're allowed to make mistakes.
I'm just listening because, like you said, you're not the only person who has accidentally ignored your intuition for what,
Accidentally on purpose.
yeah, accidentally on purpose.
Exactly.
And things go wrong, but it's a lesson that we continue to learn. Do you think that knowing what you know now, if you were to go through similar things, you would be able to listen to your intuition?
Yes, very much so. And I think I already have.
I like that.
It's been really hard though, because again, like there's things I've wanted, but I'm at the stage now where I'm like, oh no, I'm going to listen out of fear because I know what happens when I don't listen. And
Mhm.
I've walked away from, or I've turned down a job and let's say a potential relationship because they just didn't feel right. And they were really hard because I didn't have alternatives, but now it feels good and now it feels empowering.
That's right.
But
And you know what? The universe does these things because they're like, I want to test and make sure that you've actually learned this. I want to know, I'm going to put this piece of shit, Joe, in front of you. And let's see if you've learned your lesson. Let's see. And maybe second Joe wasn't as bad as first Joe. I don't know. But we've seen it with folks where
Like, will you repeat the cycle?
will you repeat the same cycle and pattern? And it's
yeah,
like this weird test, right? That the universe is trying to send to you. And when you listen to it, it's like, okay, great. You learned your lesson. Now it's time to level up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it can be so hard though, because again, it's just hard to recognize when you want something or you like something, a shiny new thing, and it appears before you, but it's not really for you or it's not right for you. But when you want it, sometimes that can really influence your feelings and behavior
Yeah.
and your buy-in.
You said you've used your intuition in the past for other things like finding roommates or making lifelong friends. In those scenarios, how did your body feel and how easy was it?
This is the thing, when you follow your intuition, when you get a good feeling and you follow it, it's all so easy. And
Exactly.
that's the way it should be.
It just
With,
flows.
yeah, it's hard to describe. For me, like the feeling is kind of a lightness and a kind of a relaxed happiness. It's
Mhm.
not an elated or ecstatic happiness. It's almost like this inner feeling of knowing.
There's no up and down,
Yeah,
right? There's no roller
yeah.
coaster.
Yeah. And
It
you
just
believe in
is.
it and you know it's going to work out or that it's a good thing, whether it's a good person. You just know and you don't question it and you don't have worry or anxiety over it.
Yes. Oh God, that's huge. The amount of anxious attachment relationships that we have seen, and I say we, but really it's Jackie because Jackie does the readings. I just listen in, but a lot of folks won't say anything to us, but I can feel it because as an empath, I'm like, oh, this person has really anxious attachment issues to this, and they're like, it just feels very uneasy, and I'm like, oh, that's not healthy when you start feeling anxious or worried. You were about to say something.
I was going to say, don't let her trick you into thinking that I'm the only one doing the reading. She's picking up the messages that she's feeling. So don't let her trick you.
So that's the other thing that I wanted to note is that when things are meant to be, they will just come easy and they'll flow. So, Laura, as you move forward and you work through your intuition and you ground yourself and you meditate, know that when things are meant for you, the path is just going to open up and it's going to be just easy peasy.
I think that boils down to trust. And just like you have to trust your intuition, you have to trust that the path will open up and that it will be easy.
But you have to let go. Right.
Yeah.
You have to relinquish control. We're so used to trying to control everything. And one thing I've realized is that sometimes I'm like, I trust the universe. You've got this. I don't know how,
Yeah.
what, but it's just going to happen. And I'm just going to trust you. And it's just going to be, and I'm going to vibe high. And I'm just going to be here looking cute. And but there is a level of trust with yourself, within your guides, within the universe of you got me. It's going to happen. And they're absolutely right. You have to get to that point where you're trusting yourself, most importantly.
Yeah, and I think it's the hardest point to get to. And for me, letting go is also just
Mhm.
accepting where you're at, whatever that is in whatever situation. But generally, I have found that letting go or accepting is really, really difficult. But usually, when you do that, things change quite quickly. And it's pretty incredible how things do change and things happen randomly.
Not so randomly.
Yeah, yeah. But it can be hard sometimes for some people to get to that place, and I completely understand that. I suppose everyone's different and people get to that place two different ways. Some people are really good at letting go, others it takes them a bit longer, and that's okay because everyone's different.
You're right. All the different experiences and lessons that have to be thrown away so that we can actually listen and pay attention. They're all going to be very different. But I do want to segue to what is my favorite part of the podcast, which is the Brujis Roundtable. So, this is your opportunity. If there's any questions or anything that you want to ask, this is your opportunities for you to test our intuition as well.
You guys are amazing. I already know that. I suppose I'd be curious, is there any romance or relationship on the horizon?
Is there a new Joe? Ooh, is
Yeah,
there a new Joe in the
replacement, an
horizon?
upgrade.
That's so funny that you use that because that's exactly what I was thinking in my head when we were talking about how sometimes the universe puts tests in your path and they're not the one, but then there is an upgrade. And I was thinking, I was hearing in my head, Joe 2.0, 3.0, right? Like sometimes it's a different version.
All right. During this Brujis roundtable, I will be drawing cards and Eve will be picking up her messages however she receives them. Sometimes she hears them, sees them, feels them. All right. So you already have people around you and you kind of know who they are already. So I'm getting the High Priestess as the bottom of the deck. I'm getting the Star because you're manifesting. So as you're healing, you're starting your glow up, right? So you're starting to attract different people and you're noticing that like, oh, this wouldn't normally be my type, but you're not type is like really attracted to you. So you have options.
I've seen this. So we're having all the options here.
Oh, nice.
And then we have Four of Pentacles reversed, which means like you're finally letting go. You're not holding on. With this situation, I feel like that was the hurt and the lack of trust in your intuition. So you're letting that go. So you're making room.
I also heard disappointment.
Oh.
You're letting go of the disappointment.
Yeah.
So there's not one Joe, but many Joes coming along. Your selection of Joes.
Woohoo, an assortment.
An assortment. I love that. I think it was our second episode. She said, I'm gonna have a spreadsheet.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Any other questions, Laura? What else do we want to know? Yeah.
I feel like they're already talking to me.
Okay.
I already saw a lot of things. So let's see like what the cards have to say without us even asking a question. Okay. So I got the Empress as bottom of the deck, 2 of Cups, 10 of Swords reversed, and Ace of Wands. To me, Ace of Wands is you're finding new things to be happy about. Like you're finding new hobbies, just a lot of new energy. The Ace to me is new. And the 10 of Swords reversed. So that's the card with the person that has like the swords on them. But since it's reversed, the way I like to say is like the swords are falling out. So you're finally done with the betrayal. You're done with the hurt. You're healing. Those swords are no longer stuck in you. They're coming out. And with the 2 of Cups, I feel like it's a partnership coming up. And I want to ask if it's like friend or love. Let's see, right? And I almost think it's love because I got 8 of Swords and Ace of Cups. So again, you are finally seeing things for what they are. You're like, I don't want to go blind.
Yes.
I don't want to act blind. I want to see. So you're releasing yourself from the hurt. And it's not something that it wasn't self-inflicted. Like it was these people, right, that betrayed your trust. And you were like, okay, well, this happened to me. Now what do I do? But you took the time to process it and start to heal and start to recognize that it was you ignoring your intuition. But now you know how your body reacts to things. So it'll be easier for you to pinpoint when you start to feel this again.
Great.
And the Ace of Cups is new feelings. So yay.
Someone's going to make you feel all nice and fuzzy.
All warm inside.
Yes. I have to share these 2 cards because this one is 2 people holding the cups, and cups typically mean feelings and emotions. So I also am getting work. You asked about work.
Yeah, I feel like they're like, oh, work? Who cares about work? We're talking about love here.
Yes. They keep on bringing up relationships.
My cards are chismosos and they love love. Okay, so I asked about work again. I was like, okay, I get the love part. We get it. Tell me about work. But it wanted to tell me about love again, right? So I'm going to give you those cards before I move on to the work part of it. So 4 of Wands, 2 of Cups, and Knight of Cups. She's going to feel safe up around her next person. So this next person is going to make you feel different. And I know sometimes that's kind of scary, but trust your intuition. Knight of Cups. So it's someone who's very emotionally stable.
We love this.
And I said that you have a stalker card because the Empress keeps popping up and it's the bottom of the deck. I have 4 of Wands, 3 of Cups, and Temperance. And that's what I drew when I was asking more specifically again about work. I was like, okay, I got it. Now tell me about work. So it's telling me to have patience. I feel like your next job is going to be easier to get along with people. I
Yeah,
know how you were
celebrations.
talking about bullies. Well, in this time, it's more celebrations.
I see like happy hours and like gatherings with your colleagues outside of work. Like I'm seeing
Nice.
like hanging out with them, like actually enjoying their company.
Yeah. But if there is a warning, right? Trust your judgment. So again, it's going back to your intuition. So trust your intuition because not
Not
everyone
everyone.
is
Mhm.
your friend. Yeah. I'm also being shown that you're an anxious person.
Yeah.
Uh, 9 of Swords. So this person's staying up, can't sleep, and these are all their worries. So swords are your thoughts. It's a reminder to trust your intuition. It's okay to feel these, but make sure that you're processing them and not just holding on to them. Like processing them and releasing.
I feel like that's her current state, though. Is that how you're feeling right now?
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
so. Yeah.
I felt it in my stomach and I heard, but that's now. So hopefully that'll change, right? But I do like the warning about there will be celebrations, things will be going well at work. But as always, with any job, there'll be people that you want to keep your eye on because not everyone that pretends to be your friend is actually
Your friend.
your
Yeah.
friend or means well. There's people that can pretend to be nice and sweet, but they're really just trying to gather information or trying to be sneaky. So
Mhm. So with those cards, did like another question maybe pop up in your head?
I am interested actually. Will I live in Ireland for most of my life, or is this where I'm going to grow old?
The world wanted to pop up. I'm also getting Ace of Swords. I don't think you're going to stay in Ireland forever. You might return back, but because I feel like you are manifesting leaving. Like you're working on leaving now. Is that true?
If I got a great offer to go abroad, let's say America, Canada, Spain, Italy, I wouldn't say no. And it would be a very easy decision for me.
Because this Page of Pentacles is like ready.
yeah,
They're like,
which
look at
makes
what's out
sense that
there.
it's pentacles.
Because
too,
money.
because of it's money. So if the right offer comes, that makes sense.
Page of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, Ten of Pentacles,
Pentacles.
the star on the bottom. So that's why I asked about manifestation because the star is someone willing to do the work and channeling that.
But I also think that because it's dark, she may be subconsciously doing it. You may be subconsciously just asking, like, I'm okay with this. So it's not like actively manifesting per se, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it could be that. I'm not taking active action, but if it were to happen, I think I'd be happy. I always had a feeling that I would end up abroad. I can't describe it. Is it my intuition or is it just fantasy?
Hey, it could turn into both.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
What is manifestation? But we're a little bit delulu, a
Yeah.
little delusional when we're like, this is gonna happen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And at some point when I cut the deck, the world came out. So I was like, oh, that is like the big sign that you're going to be not just in Ireland. So
Which makes sense. Yeah. And we can't wait to see where you go,
yeah, then you can come back and tell
Yeah.
us.
where you drift off
I
to,
will.
where you drift off to. Do we have any other questions, Laura?
I don't think so. Not that I can think of.
Do you have questions?
No, but I was like, now to my favorite part, where Eve does a reading for the collective. So sometimes this can still be almost like an extension of your reading and for our collective as well. So
I want to say it might be the continuation, but also I really think that a lot of times, right, we're not alone. That's the beauty about podcasts was that you are never really quite alone. And there's someone who either can identify, can pick out, can resonate with something that you've said today. And I love that because folks will be like, man, I've been there, Laura. You don't even know. Some of our listeners are going to be like, I too ignore those red flags. I too had a gut feeling and I ignored it. And whenever we have that, there's a sense of community, there's a sense of solidarity with knowing that. So when I do this collective reading, it's sometimes a continuation of what we've talked about here specifically for you, Laura, but I think more importantly, it's for the collective. What is someone who maybe has gone through something similar? What do we need to take away? What do we need to learn from this? So we'll pull cards and we'll see what is our takeaway. What's our message for today's episode for our collective reading? Let's see. So the first card says, when I'm connected to spirit, I can feel a sense of certainty, magnitude, and ease that I've never known before. Do you want to be my model? Particularly because we were talking about aligning ourselves and following our intuition. And when we are connected to spirit, when we do allow ourselves to let go and allow ourselves to just be, whether it's grounding, whether it's meditating, whatever, there is a sense of certainty and ease that you've never known before. And it's true that anxiety, those fears, those emotions really start to leave. And I think, Laura, you're starting to head in that direction. The next one says, I let an inner sense of quiet multiply each day as I strengthen my faith in the love of the universe. Again, this one reminds me of what you said of being quiet, of allowing those moments of quietness for messages. When we allow for those, we multiply our strength, our love of the universe. And what happens when we love the universe? The universe loves us back. Yeah. Manifesting is the creative process of aligning with the energy of the universe and co-create an experience that elevates my spirit in the spirit of the world. So tap into that energy of just allowing, of grounding yourself, because that's when we're going to co-create the experience that we're looking for. That's where we're going to meet Joe 2.0. That's when we're going to find that job that we've been wanting, that's going to lead you in the path that you want to, because you're going to say, wow, that job was just too good to pass up. They made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So here I go, X place. And only that, but it's going to elevate our spirit. And what does that do? It brings our consciousness higher. So when our vibe is higher, there's like a snowball effect that happens. And the bottom of the deck says, the more I attune my energy with appreciation, the more the universe will deliver. I love this one.
That's really do. Sweet. Yeah.
The more I attune my energy with appreciation, the more the universe will deliver. So once we've done the work, once we release, once we ground ourselves, once we believe in the universe and we love the universe and the universe loves us back, the way that we show gratitude is really important, because when we show appreciation, that's where the universe delivers. That's where we'll start seeing more blessings. Manifestation is nothing but energy. It's a frequency. So if we tap into that frequency, we practice just saying, I'm so lucky. I'm so grateful. You can say your affirmations at this time. When you extend that gratitude of saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for the things that I have and the things that are to come. I like to sometimes say, universe, I can't wait for you to show me X. Show me what it's like to be loved unconditionally. Show me what it's like to have the job of my dreams. And when we do that and we show appreciation, the universe will continue to deliver. It all kind of weaved in very nicely with the conversation that we had in aligning ourselves and trusting our intuition. And Laura, we want to thank you so much for being a guest. I know it's late where you are at. We do appreciate you being a guest today and sharing not only el chismecito, but your intuition with us and how our listeners can tap into their own intuition. I think that's really important.
Thank you for having me.
Any other thoughts, any closing remarks for folks that you might have?
I just find it very interesting how the cards you pulled reflected on many of the things that we discussed. Like, it is a great synchronicity.
And what are synchronicities? But exactly what we're supposed to hear. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Just a reminder that these cards will be available for you to view on our social media channels.
So, Brujis, let's talk about it. Have you ever gone through something like this? Could you relate to this episode? And if you did, how did you handle it? What did you learn along the way? Spill the tea. It's time to sip and share.
Send in your story via Instagram, TikTok, or readingthetea.com. We might share you in a future episode.
As we wrap up, we're so grateful you joined us today. If you love this episode, make sure you subscribe, share it, and stay connected with us on social media for behind-the-scene moments, exclusive content, and ways to engage with our comunidad. This space is for all of us, so bring your stories, your energy, and your curiosity.
Until next time, keep sipping your tea, trusting your path, and embracing the magic of it all.
Nos vemos pronto.